Every gun owner and police officer in this country should be terrified of no-knock warrants. A no-knock warrant is a warrant that allows law enforcement officers to enter a property without notification. They don't have to knock, ring a doorbell, or even announce that they're cops, because the U.S. Supreme Court said that in those circumstances when police have a good reason to suspect that announcing their presence and intentions may be dangerous, futile, or result in the destruction of evidence, a no-knock entry is justified. One of the main reasons why we Americans buy guns is for self-defense, especially self-defense against home invasions. As a gun owner, if I hear banging on my front door and then I hear the door being smashed in as a group of guys with guns and plain clothes storm into my house, I'm grabbing my gun and defending myself. Then I'm going to call up my concealed carry insurance provider, USCCA, and tell them that I'm probably going to be needing a lawyer. Home invasions are horrifying enough, but imagine how traumatized I'd be if I found out that the people I just defended myself against were actually cops conducting a no-knock warrant. This is why no-knock warrants and even knock and announce raids in general should terrify every gun owner. I can understand if a police officer has to burst into a home to save a life. By all means, do what you have to do to save that life. However, in this country, we have 300 million citizens with the right to bear arms in 23 states that have a castle doctrine law that says, in short, if someone breaks into your home, you have a right to shoot them in self-defense. Considering all of this, why the hell are we risking the lives of law-abiding citizens and cops for possible benefits of stopping Jason, the drug dealer, from flushing drugs down a toilet? In the case of Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker, a young lady possibly lost her life for this very reason.
Loved ones of Breonna Taylor grieving and outraged. The 26-year-old Louisville first responder shot 8 times and killed by police. On March 13th, before 1 a.m., Louisville police say 3 officers executed a search warrant at Taylor's apartment, an address police believed was used by a suspected drug dealer to traffic narcotics. Police reports say officers Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankinson, and Miles Cosgrove, wearing plain clothes and no body cameras, announced themselves and forced entry.
The officers forced entry into the exterior door and were immediately met by gunfire.
But in a new wrongful death lawsuit against the officers, Taylor's family says they never announced themselves. The suit says Taylor and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker, startled from sleep, believed it was a break-in and called 911 for help. Walker, a licensed gun owner, then shot and wounded one of the officers. Officers returned fire, the suit says, blindly into the residence. Taylor's family attorneys say no drugs were found in the home. Walker is now facing charges for attempted murder of a police officer. His attorney says he's completely innocent. The officers now on administrative reassignment, and while the case is under investigation, police aren't commenting.
Right now, there are a bazillion questions that need to be answered in that case. Like, why there were no body cameras? Why are you conducting a raid in plain clothes? Did the cops actually knock and announce their presence? And if they did, to what degree? But more specifically, why is Kenneth Walker being charged with attempted murder when he wasn't named on the warrant? He's also a legal gun owner. There were no drugs found in the house, and from the looks of it, had no criminal record or any other telltale signs that could serve as a possible motive to knowingly shoot at cops. It seems the only motive he had was to protect himself and his girlfriend from what he may have thought were home invaders, because the police either didn't knock or announce, or didn't engage in a sufficient enough knocking and announcing to give notice to Kenneth that they were the police. Or maybe he really just did shoot at cops like a criminal. We don't know. So the most I can say about this case, I pretty much already said it. So I have to wait for more information to come out. That's just kind of what life is. However you slice it though, serving warrants are dangerous, but serving no-knock warrants in a country like America is downright reckless. I could maybe understand if cases like Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker were one-offs, but they're not.
Aurora Charles, whose brother died when HPD served a warrant looking for someone else 6 years ago, wanted to know when and how things will get better.
All I want is the law to change. You cannot go by the word of an informant. You've got to do some more investigation. That's all I ask.
Prince George's County Police saying today that the man who shot 2 of their officers last night will not be facing any criminal charges at all. It's because police should never have been at his home to begin with.
They went in like they knew where they were going.
Victor Harrison watched as several officers approached his neighbor's apartment on Loring Drive on Wednesday night around 10 p.m. Moments later, his neighbor fired a shot, injuring 2 officers.
The investigation led us to the wrong address.
Chief Hank Stawinski says that man will not face charges for opening fire on those officers who went into the apartment with a search warrant after knocking.
I believe he fired that weapon because he felt he was defending himself and his daughter.
Look, I get it. We've been fighting the war on drugs for almost 50 years now. It's hard to make cases stick. Hell, I've written motions to suppress drugs that were clearly being sold, but the way the cops found the drugs violated the drug dealers' constitutional rights. And I've also coached cops who are friends of mine on how to write a better constitutionally sound police report so that the defense attorneys don't easily rip them to shreds. I do this because I believe the preservation of our constitutional rights is more important than closing a drug case. And I hate drugs. The same way I believe the opportunity cost of serving no-knock warrants to prevent the destruction of evidence is not worth people dying over. There are just too many unintended consequences. It's just too easy to mess up serving a no-knock warrant. Hell, even knock and announce warrants are easy to mess up. Right now, if a group of cops knocked on my door and I'm upstairs, I'm not gonna hear the knock, especially at 12 o'clock in the morning. But I will hear them if they break my door in. So if I come around the corner with my gun because I heard my door being smashed in and there are dudes in plain clothes with guns yelling and screaming, what the hell do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna defend my home. I don't know you. You don't have on a uniform. So as far as I'm concerned, you're a home invader. Now, I'm either going to get killed or I'm going to end up shooting a cop. It's all horrifying. I haven't even mentioned when they get the wrong house.
To that investigation, one Tennessee family was shocked when SWAT team officers kicked down their door and threw a flashbang grenade inside, and it was all a mistake.
Yeah, officials were actually looking for the house next door. As Amber Worthy reports, the father is calling them out on the air.
There's kids' toys all over the place. They probably had to step over kids' toys, and they still threw 3 different flashbangs. One hit my son's room, one hit me.
The DEA is apologizing for bursting into the Rink family home with the Bradley County SWAT team, only later finding out that it was the wrong home.
I think somebody's breaking in my house. I go get my gun. Trying to protect my family, like the dad would do.
The father of 4 says just before 6 a.m. with his gun drawn, he feared for his life when he saw police instead of the intruder that he was anticipating.
As soon as they opened the door, they had seen all them guns, I just turned around. Because if that's like everybody was saying, if I was 5 steps up or 3 steps up, they had to pull the trigger, I had a gun. The houses look similar. Really, so like, well, they look similar, and we were told it had a white car. Well, I had a Yukon. And I had a Camry, and they were white. And they said we had a white car. So we just got your house, it looks similar. That's not a mistake to make. Like hell, you could have looked at the mailbox.
I can't get Uber Eats to deliver food to the right address when it's daytime and I give them step-by-step instructions, much less a group of cops in the middle of the night who are amped up on adrenaline. The worst thing that happens if the Uber Eats gets the wrong address is someone gets a free meal. The worst thing that can happen if the cops execute a no-knock warrant on the wrong house, someone or people die. And let's not forget, bullets go through walls. God forbid you have a no-knock warrant shootout in an apartment complex. Now, not only is the homeowner and the cops in danger, now everyone in and around that apartment building are also in danger.
Tonight, WLKY obtains photos from the scene of a police shooting that has sparked outrage here and nationwide. They show the bullet-riddled inside of her apartment. A lawsuit claims that the officers blindly fired into Taylor's apartment after busting in without announcing themselves. LMPD says officers returned fire after Taylor's boyfriend fired first. One of the officers was shot in the leg.
So as a gun owner, if you can't see why you should be terrified of no-knock warrants or even insufficiently executed knock and announce warrants, then you're not really being honest with yourself and you don't truly understand what the essence of the Second Amendment is. My right to self-defense doesn't end because the government really wants to close a drug case. And I would hope that any cop who truly believes in protecting and serving the public would feel the same way. And for anyone out there wondering about my concealed carry insurance and the company that I use, I'll put a link in the description section. Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can help do this by clicking the heart and share button and leaving a comment. Let my voice be your voice and let them know you want to keep America tactical, because the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed wasn't a suggestion, it was a directive. Also, if you're wondering where to purchase your All Guns Are Essential merchandise, click the link in the description section of this video.